Good afternoon. Welcome to Lancaster Connects. My name is Ben, and we are broadcasting live from Gardner's Mattress and More right here in Lancaster on Plaza Boulevard across from Park City Mall. Got a great show today. As you can see, I am flying solo. Our thoughts and prayers are with Jeff, co-host of Lancaster Connects and partner here at Gardner's Mattress and More. Jeff is traveling or has traveled to his original hometown of Canada, or country of Canada, hometown up close to Toronto. Jeff's grandmother passed away last week, so thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. A couple of things there that he's attending this week, and he'll likely be back with us next week. So again, we're thinking of him. I know his grandparents meant a lot to him, and he lost his grandfather last year, and then of course his grandmother this year. So I remember when I went through that 10 or so years ago, my grandfather and grandmother passed away within about 6 months of each other, and kind of a similar path to what Jeff's grandparents just did. So never an easy time. It's hard to see people you've known all your life suffer, and I think that was the case with his grandparents towards the end, and as was the case with my grandparents. So know what he's going through there. So we're thinking of him. Like I said, Lancaster Connects, thanks for watching. We'd love to see your comments. I'd love to hear from you during the show. We give away some prizes, got some less nor more cuddle drinkware. I'm pointing to it like you can see it. I've got to lift it up. On the go bundle, little travel pillow and blanket there. All you got to do to win one of these great prizes is enter a comment into the comment box, whether you're watching on Facebook, Gardner's Mattress and More, or Lancaster Connects Facebook pages, YouTube channels, same thing, Gardner's Mattress and More or Lancaster Connect YouTube channels, even LinkedIn. We get some comments from LinkedIn every once in a while. Put those comments in the show. You can ask me a question. You can ask our guest a question. You could send Jeff some well wishes, whatever you'd like to say in the comments. Keep it clean, of course. Put them in there. And then at the end, we'll spin the prize-later, which the prize-later takes all the comments and all the names, all the people, and puts it into a prize wheel. And we pick a winner. And all you got to do is come in and pick up your drinkware or your pillow pack. Love to get some great comments during the show. And of course, I did share, going off the notes here, I did share where you can watch the show. But you can also listen on podcast players. Typically, shows are available within the next week on anywhere you find your podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, plenty of other places. This show is also broadcast there. You can catch past episodes at lancasterconnects.com. We are on episode 90, which is crazy. I just realized, within the next couple months here, we'll have episode 100, and we'll have to plan something really, really big for episode 100. Not sure what it is. Maybe you have some ideas. You can put it in the chat for us. There's Andrew wishing Jeff well there on his trip. Of course, safe travels to him to and back. But yeah, episode 100 coming up. We've been doing this show now for almost 2.5 years, highlighting great things going on in Lancaster County, whether that's a nonprofit or charitable organization or a small business using their time and financial means to give back to the community. It's what we're able to do here at Gardner's Mattress and More. This is one of the ways that we choose to give back, along with our food donation program that customers help us out with. It's a way for us to not only highlight great things and great people doing great things in Lancaster County, but then it's our way of giving back and shining a spotlight on some really great people doing great things in the community. If you'd like to be a guest, if you have a story to tell, if you're a small business giving back in the way that we're giving back or a similar way, or a nonprofit or charitable organization that wants to get some light shown on your business and what you're doing, or if you know somebody that would be a good guest, go to lancasterconnects.com/guest. There's a simple form on there, name, email, and a little bit of information, phone number, a little bit of information of what type of story you could tell, and go ahead and submit that, and then we'll get you on the schedule. And I think we're booked up almost through May at this point. So we're looking for some summer guests. would love to share your story if you've got a story to tell. All right. Enough of the intro. Let's bring our guest on. Dawn Cox from Prana Functional Manual Therapy and also Myokind, what we'll talk about. Dawn, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ben. Thanks for having me. And just my heart goes out to Jeff. Just nothing left. I know it is what it is and life happens, but it doesn't make it easy when you're going through it. So, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So in terms of guests, I feel like we should have had you on earlier because we've known you for more than 10 years. In fact, you used to do seminars here at Gardener's Mattress and More.
Absolutely.
So that's how we came to be. In fact, a newspaper reporter came here. We did a whole article. There's actually a picture of you on our wall over there on one of those newspaper plaque things.
I have it in Prana too. It's all framed really nice. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So those are awesome. You came into the showroom and talked about how people can better use their mattress with posture. You're often referred to as the chief of posture police. Well, if you ask you what that's about, but yeah, you did a whole thing on sleep positioning and pillow positioning and a lot of the things that you shared with us, Jeff and I have used over the last 10 years with our customers, our sales team, and in seminars that we've done on our own here with customers. So we, of course, thank you for being a guest. Thank you for all the knowledge you've shared with us over the years. And excited to dig more into what you do for your great clients here in Lancaster. So my first question, just kind of an icebreaker question. I feel like you're Miss Lancaster in a way. You're all over downtown. You know a ton of people. I know you're excited to share about some of your favorite places to eat. But did you actually grow up in Lancaster, or are you a transplant?
I did not. I am a transplant. The fast story. Born in Alaska, which is a nice trivia question. People don't expect that. Lived in Austin, Texas till I was about 6. But all my formative years, St. Louis area, Belleville, Illinois, but the St. Louis area right across the river. Lived there for about 17 years and then went to school, University of Missouri. And then after I graduated, moved to New York City, where I lived for 17 years. And now I've been here for 17 years. So.
Wow. Okay. So a little different New York City and Lancaster, right?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And I love both for all different reasons. And some the same. Yeah.
That's awesome. Lancaster has, the city is always growing, always doing unique things. And in a way, it has like a little bit of a big city feel in some parts, like really upscale restaurants and art galleries and the theater scene and all kinds of cool stuff downtown. Kind of like a little mini, what you want to call it, tiny New York City.
When people used to say the city, like when I first moved here, they'd be like the city. I'm like, oh no, not. I thought they meant New York, and then it didn't. The context of what they were saying didn't make sense. But they meant Lancaster City, and I'm like, oh. What's kind of funny, it feels like the suburbs to me. I have a little patch of grass, I doubled my apartment size, in the little house. But I understand being here long enough. I understand now. And when they would say York real fast, I thought they meant New York. But no, I got it now.
17 years. Yeah. You've had a chance to adjust.
And I would say, I just adore Lancaster City. Always been a little bit more of a city person. Yep. They have so much to offer in, like you started to say, whether it's restaurants or things to do. In New York, you can have 1,000 things to do in one night. Here you might have 5, but you're only one person. So anyway, there's just so much. Yeah. And then just the community is great.
Yep.
All different types of people.
So you're a physical therapist and you do some unique things with physical therapy. We'll talk about that. But New York actually plays a big part in your story in how you became a physical therapist. Can you share a little bit about that journey?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Actually, I was a publicist in New York for 7 years. I went back to school and when I was 30, to go back to school for physical therapy. And then when I graduated, one of the physical therapy professors, I said, how do I become the best clinician in the shortest amount of time? And she plugged me into the Institute of Physical Art, which is a continuing education organization with physical therapy. So when you're a PT, to maintain your license, you have to take continuing education classes. However, myself and everywhere I've ever worked, and definitely Prana, we promote that. Don't just take the baseline, required continuing education. We take way more, and because we're lifelong learners, and the more we know, the more we feel like we need to learn more. But my point is, she sent me, so I got a really good experience kind of on a fast track of how to be the best clinician for an outpatient orthopedic practice. But then during one of those classes, one of the people who was teaching a course worked with Broadway dancers. And this was before 9/11 and all that. But and I just went up to her and I said, hey, I just graduated like 2 years ago, but I was a dancer all my formative years. That's like a dream come true. Could I come shadow? So I started shadowing with her, ended up getting hired by her. Because right after school, I was working with doing a lot of pediatrics with New York City Board of Education, because they paid for my last 2 years of school. So just note that. And then I would work at night at an outpatient orthopedic practice, because that's originally what I wanted to do. And then, long story short, I got to work for PhysiArts and Backstage Broadway. I was backstage with dancers, stage crew, musicians, through my friend Jennifer Green and PhysiArts. So yeah, it was really amazing. And then Broadway's right there. Cool.
Yeah. You planned that.
No, I did it, but that's cool. And I learned so much, because if you are a physical therapist, we're also trained to listen. And I feel like my dancers at the time really taught me so much. I mean, I take a lot of continuing ed, and I got a lot of great mentorship because I was older when I graduated. But if you really listen, they're teaching you, which and any patients, not just the dancers, but that kind of, I was kind of like a springboard into, oh boy. Well, first of all, fake it till you make it, because I was like, oh yeah, like act like it. I know what this. Okay. But then, I actually do know now. So.
Yeah. So, 30 years old, you went back to school. What kind of prompted that? Was it your experience as a dancer and, the movement and properly moving your body to not only do what you're supposed to do on the stage, but, throughout life? Like what prompted that journey to go back to school for physical therapy?
Well, also my whole life, I was a dancer, cheerleader. I ended up back in the day when I was 16, started teaching aerobics. That's when we wore like the whole headband thing and, picture Olivia Newton-John. If you don't know who that is, kid, research her, because I think she passed away this year, which is sad. But so I was always into fitness on some level. And then when I was a publicist, I was sitting down a lot and I was just like, oh boy. And I considered physical therapy for probably 5 years. And then one day at work, I was so stressed out. But don't get me wrong, I really value what I learned as a publicist. I had really some high level entertainment clients. That was a really cool experience. I grew up in the Midwest, and here I am in New York City working with like Paul Simon and Mariah Carey. And, did Gloria Stefan's comeback tour from when she broke her back. And I was, at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami. I had no idea where I went. At the time, I was like young and dumb, but it was great.
That's incredible.
Right. So, but I was sitting there and I'm like, I just had a feeling, and I listened to my gut, and I just was like, I'm supposed to be doing something different. And I just listened to that internal voice. And then I made a call, and I said, I already had a degree, right? But I said, I made a call to several different PT schools, found out what I needed to do, and I needed to take some prerequisites. So that day I registered for a few science-based prerequisites that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And then I went into my boss and I said, listen, my clients are used to a certain level of service. I'm going to quit my job, and I'm just going to get hustle jobs as a personal trainer. I waited tables and went back to PT school. Well, actually, the prereqs. That year was hard because you have to study for the GREs. You have to take your prerequisites. You have to do your hustle job to live in New York and afford it. Then you had to do 1,500 hours of volunteer, blah, blah, blah. So that was tough. And then apply for PT schools. And then I got into Long Island University in Brooklyn.
That's an incredible story. I mean, and kudos to you for like knowing at that moment, like what you wanted to do. And of course, here you are a bunch of years later, doing it, living it. So what you do is different than normal physical therapy. Functional manual therapy is what Prana is all about. And I'm not sure that all of our listeners would know what functional manual therapy is and how it might differ from traditional physical therapy. Can you share that?
Yes.
Well, I know you can.
Thank you for asking. No. Of course I can. Now, again, going back to what I mentioned, Christiana Call was my professor. She plugged me into the Institute of Physical Art to be the best, physical therapist I can be. So I am a physical therapist, but I'm certified in functional manual therapy with the Institute of Physical Art. Okay. That's a continuing education organization, postgraduate stuff. So I called Prana Functional Manual Therapy instead of just physical therapy, although we're all licensed physical therapists at Prana. That's what we are. We don't have any physical therapy assistants because with the functional manual therapy paradigm, to be honest, in short, it really means we're trying to be ambassadors of excellence in physical therapy because there's a lot going on out there with I'm sure they're goodwill people, but just kind of like, if your experience is like you kind of got a hot pack and someone's kind of watching you do an exercise, that's just not our approach. Ours is a little bit, I would say, more thorough. And I would say, physical therapy, ... the way it should be kind of thing.
Right.
Because just to be somewhat succinct, but explain it, I'll just take the elbow joint for a second because we do M&M therapy, mechanical, neuromuscular, and motor control. So what that means is if I have a joint that's stuck, the mechanical work is what you would think like massage therapist, chiropractor. I got to work on, does this move? How does it move? Can it move more? So I have to do some soft tissue work, joint work to get it to move more. But then the neuromuscular reeducation would be, well, right then and there, I've got to re-educate the muscles there's 20 different neuromuscular different characteristics. I won't bore you with all of them, but like, can it initiate, a contraction? Can it go from concentric to eccentric? Is it strong through the range and all this stuff? So we do some fancy techniques right there on the table, but then we would go through motor control would be like, okay, how do you sleep? Do you sleep like this all night? Do you use your phone constantly like this? It's all about the posture and movement, that's where, when we talk about Myokind, that's kind of where that whole settles, that training and posture. But so it's M&M therapy. So anyone on my table, one day it might look like, oh, I look like a massage therapist to them. One day it might look like, oh, I look like a chiropractor to them. One day it might look like, oh, I'm a dance instructor or a personal trainer or, so it all kind of blends together. And then we work really well in our community. If I do feel like someone has way too much going on in their soft tissues, I might send them to a massage therapist that I trust. And so I would say I have at Prana, we have 8 PTs there, a virtual wellness clinic. And when we had, and you can actually go on our website. I think we just did this. We put trusted providers because we're really about, we might just be a stop on the journey. We do kind of like to be the hub of the wheel though on some level because we can actually fine tune and see exactly, we need to reach out to an acupuncturist or we need to reach out to, because we are thorough and not only how does this move and how does it react, but how do you put in your posture and movement. But we rely on our really well trained and skilled massage therapists, acupuncturists, dance instructors, personal trainers, structural integrationists, which is Rolfing, if you know it as that, and yoga people, yoga instructors. But we make sure that we vet them a little bit to make sure that we're on the same page level of, how we provide our service, level of quality.
Yeah, that makes sense. So would it be fair to say that a lot of physical therapy is, so somebody, you use the elbow as an example, somebody has an issue with their elbow, they might go through, not with you, but like with, let's say it's insurance-based physical therapist, whatever. They go through a process, a handful of visits to correct or fix or make the elbow feel better, do these exercises, whatnot. But then that's it. Like that's the way a lot of physical therapy is, where it sounds like what you do is you're not only doing what you can do to make it feel better as quickly as it can feel better, but you're giving a pathway to your patients and your clients for them to not have this happen again down the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love to write in my notes, prevent recidivism, because it sounds like I'm smart because recidivism, it just means we don't want it to come back. But, so here's the deal. I tell people I would like to be in the business of just prevention. Like everybody makes an appointment, we do our teeth or our car to maintain it, like every 3 months for 3 sessions. Let me just check everything out because we can be detectives of the body to find out what's coming down the pike. I'd rather catch it as a preventive way of doing it instead of being reactive to an injury. I mean, there's always going to be injuries and we can address that. But because we can be so thorough in what we see in the body at the time, educating on posture and movement, and then knowing what's weak and targeting that and working with because we'd like to keep people talking about Lancaster Connects and keep people in the yoga studios, in the personal training gym, in the boxing gyms, in the dance studios, because if you have an injury and now it's torn, well, that's a whole nother drama and what comes with that. So my goal is to keep people out of my office, okay, in the clinic and the rest of the physical therapists too, because we're really thorough. And another thing you said, just because someone's out of pain doesn't mean they're done or they're better. They are better, best, of course, because we have to focus on the what at first, and then we really have to dive into the why and really thoroughly follow through with that. So you do not have to come back. Like if you sprained an ankle or something, great, come back. But we would prefer that, we do it together as a team. I mean, don't let any PT kid you. They can't do it alone. If someone is not going to participate in their rehab or trying to get better, it's hard. We really have to be a team. I mean, I do joke with my patients. We get close with them because we see them quite often. I'll be, hey, if you get better, like I'm totally taking all the credit. But if you get worse, I'm going to blame you that you didn't do your home program.
Right.
Because we have a long mission statement, but the last word in our mission statement is fun. The word fun. Because
that makes a ton of sense. So, if let's say you're a healthy person, you don't have any specific joint issues that you need physical therapy for, would that type of person be a good client for you to just like,
Absolutely.
Hey, check me out. Let's say I'm playing basketball. I want to prevent potential injuries. What should I be paying attention to? What stretches should I be doing? That would be a good client for you.
Yeah. Anyone. We treat everyone from the tip of the head to the tip of the toes. And every like that tall and then wide, like what you're saying, they're really, really, and I would first ask you, how do you define healthy, right? What does that mean? Yep. Because that could be, loaded in what that means for people.
Sure.
But we're talking about someone who wouldn't traditionally think of a reason. See, fun. Thanksgiving, we do feast.
I always see your posts, your employee posts, group photos. Yeah.
Yeah, we dress up. We go all out for all. Actually, if you come on a Friday, I will answer you in a second, but I have to tell you, if anyone comes on a Friday, it's Funky Socks Friday. So we all wear funky socks and we don't wear shoes to promote that it is healthy to be without your shoes to give and we do dress up for holidays. And that's
awesome.
So it is a lot of fun. But so the reason it is important, I would ask you this. Don't you take your car in? Don't you take your teeth? I mean, don't we think that our teeth are going to fall out or something's going to happen if we don't? Why wouldn't we maintain the most important machine that we've got? We've only got one body. That's it. But I understand that some people's experience with physical therapy is a little different. And they'd be like, oh, I've been to physical therapy. It didn't really work for me. And I humbly say, I would love for you to come in, maybe just one session, because maybe you're right. But I would love to really give you a detailed evaluation through our lens and see what we can find. I mean, let's try it. And typically, even with what you said as your healthy individual who wants to do something like basketball, we have to look at everything. Like basketball, you have to go up for a layup, which means you have to plie or bend or squat to get the power to go up. So we have to look at every joint, and you might get back pain on occasion, but it may be something in your left big toe that doesn't move well, that is transitioning up the chain, that isn't making your machine function really well. I mean, we understand it with our cars. It really still surprises me that people don't get it, that this is all we got. And I think that's why I thank you for giving me the opportunity, because I want people to just understand that there's more out there than just, I don't think there's anything we can do. Oh, just don't run. Oh boy. Or it's bone on bone. Well, I have bone on bone in my left hip and I still do yoga. I can run. I can dance. It's all about, and it's more than just maybe what we do with our hands and the M&M therapy. We also as part of our Practice Act, we could talk about nutrition and supplements. And it's not that complicated, but I understand it's not that easy because it means you're not just taking a pill and just that's going to be it. It requires some strategy, some changing of routines, getting habit. But we get so excited about it, and we love giving the education of how to get that healthy person to say, hey, you're already here. If your goal is to play basketball and have longevity and stay out of here, because guess what? It's expensive to be sick. So it's also, if you actually put a little bit more into what maybe people are traditionally wired to pay out of pocket for your personal trainer, your massage therapist. And that's fine. I just get a little chip on my shoulder when hey, we have 7 years of higher education. We can be detective of your body to make sure the exercises you're doing or the yoga you're doing is exactly the right quality, the right initiation with the right range of motion. I have not once have I had a yoga enthusiast, including instructors, come to my office that I didn't have one tweak or nuance that we could really help them springboard and even more. So you can always get better in your performance instead of just being the reactive to pain. So I hope I answered your question. I also want to add, because I think what you said earlier, maybe you alluded to, we take all most major insurances.
Okay. Yeah.
We do have a lot of self-pay because people, if they don't have, or they're out of network, they're recognizing in our community that we're different and maybe a little more thorough. And, we do have people self-pay, but we do take insurance, but we do not have any assistance. It's licensed physical therapists for 1 hour, full 1 hour evaluation and one-on-one 40-minute follow-up treatments.
Yep. I love what you said. And yes, you definitely answered my question. And thanks for the insurance clarification. I love what you said about detectives of the body. You're right. I mean, our car needs maintenance. Our teeth needs maintenance. We have to get our hair cut. We do all these other things that we need to do. We know we need to do for our body, but when it comes to the rest of our body, we only do stuff typically when we hurt. You twist an ankle. Okay, now I need to do something about it. Yeah. But what you're saying is the shift. It's a mental shift of thinking about your body. How can you use your body properly and better so you prevent those sorts of injuries? That's really cool.
Yes, I appreciate you inviting me on here so I could be part of that. And also, I do think it's getting better. I do think we're chugging along at a slow pace, but I do think that part is getting better.
That's great. So, couple things about Prana. We'll wrap up about our time with Prana because it kind of segues into the next really cool thing that you're doing. Getting in touch with Prana, pranapt.com. If somebody wants to set an appointment with you or get the process started, I'm assuming there's a great place to do that. Where are you located?
We're located, it's really easy, right across the street from Clipper Stadium. So we're in downtown Lancaster, which I love, but we're right on Prince Street, 617 North Prince Street. However, just Clipper Stadium right across the street.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody knows where Clipper is and the great things that those guys do at the Barnstormer Stadium there. So, you've transitioned. Well, obviously transitioned. You've done Prana, and Prana's great. You have some great physical therapists in the practice there, and some of them that we saw them on the screen there. But you've kind of started a new business path called Myokind. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. And
what is Myokind?
I'll tell you that. I just want to. Yes. So I'm going to mention one thing about Prana, but we can either perfect. I just want to say, because I know that I have come there and taught how to sleep. So you could have the best mattress in the world, which Gardner's Mattress and More does have them. And I send everybody there. We have our local wellness includes Gardner's Mattress and More, an inside track for shoes. We have all of our people. Yeah. But we also looked at, how to use and what pillow materials. It may be a perfect pillow, but it may not be for you, for your body type. Because we work a lot with hypermobility spectrum disorder, which means they can move at their joints a lot more and they need different things. So, but another thing that I don't think that I just want to mention is we have a specialty now in airway. So Heather and Heather's another PT, about how to sleep for positioning, but not only just so you don't get neck pain, headaches and things like that, but airway. We're going to collaborative conferences with dentists and speech therapists and other physical therapists and even sleep doctors, and in which we're all trying to help people open their airway. And if you read the book Breath, you'll know a little bit more about that, about nasal breathing. So we go down into the weeds about all of that. So I just want to say, so maybe we need to connect again on airway. Yeah.
Well, snoring and sleep apnea and those are two of the biggest issues with, or sleep concerns people have that prevent them from sleeping or prevent their partner from sleeping, if it's snoring. And, of course, an adjustable bed that we sell, can elevate the head, and that helps, but there's potentially some other things going on. Yeah.
In these conferences, you might even want to come to one once. It's, even the first day, it's collaborative, and they're asking everyone to check their ego at the door because we're all in this together. Just like if you have the perfect mattress, well, if the person has retrognathia up their jaw and they have a tongue tie and there's just so much that can happen, that the best mattress isn't going to be able to do it. And neither is just me, the physical therapist. They may need an allergist. So anyway, we can talk about that. Maybe have a whole nother podcast about just that.
Yeah. So that's great. And, just to kind of piggyback on that, that's what you did when you had your seminars here. You would, teach us and our guests or attendees how to use their mattress better. Cause that's something that we don't know anything about. We sell the mattress. We can say how the mattress can help them sleep better, but how do you actually use their mattress? For most people, they lay flat. There's more to it than that.
I love working collaboratively like that, so it's so awesome. And supporting local businesses and privately owned businesses is really a passion for me. So for MyoKind, it was a similar thing. So here's what happened. During the pandemic, I had more time. Since I moved back from New York, I moved to New York. I always worked in corporation. I do what I would call the backstage paradigm, where I go into companies and I do preventative physical therapy sessions a couple times a year. Or right now I'm working with Armstrong once a week. I work with Webstrand and Clark 2 or 3 times a year. And I've always done that. But I was teaching the same things over and over again. So even though their trainers are goodwill people and train them, somewhat on how to lift, push, pull, reach, whatever you have to do when you work in any kind of labor intensive job, or even sitting. We do that too. Ergonomics with sitting. But what happened was I kept saying the same things over and over again. So there were some nuances being missed that, a skilled movement therapist could provide. And I have to give credit to, Vicki Johnson at Institute of Physical Art. Some of the, continuing education classes I took with her, core strategies, and then I ended up teaching with her. A lot of that is spurred from that, because this is what we do at Prana. We would teach you. But the reason MyoKind came up, which means myo is muscles and kind, so kind of being kind to the muscles.
Okay.
And myokinematics is how you move. So it just made sense. So it was like, I was originally going to say myokin, but then I added D for Dawn, and then organically, the word kind is in it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect.
That's perfect.
So, yeah. So what happened was I produced the video with Brian Donnelly of Donnelly Studios during the pandemic because I had more time. Okay. And then we were in post-production, and I thought it was just going to be like a video on Prana's website as a product. And they're like, no. You have to come up with a whole new brand. It doesn't make sense that someone in Seattle, like let's say Amazon in Seattle wants to use your video. Why are they going on a local Lancaster physical therapy clinic website? So I had to come up. So it just organically happened. And then I came up with the name. So sometimes when I'm doing, like I just sponsored something for Prima Theater. I'm sponsoring the Mom Show. It's coming up for Mother's Day. Little plug there. But we have a logo that says MyoKind by Prana, because in this area, Prana has been around for 12 years. It has a good reputation. But like someone in, like I said, Seattle, their Prana doesn't mean anything to them. So that's why MyoKind is a separate business. But it's really geared towards whether it's a human resources person or a trainer or a CEO. It's like, hey, we want to, here's honestly my vision, and I'm not even kidding. I think the video is so valuable for any company that does any kind of lifting, pushing, pulling, reaching, squatting, standing, prolonged standing. Honestly, anybody. Let's just get on the baseline of what wellness is. Then if you want to do something fancy, like some sort of weight loss program or walking program or yoga or that is great. But when they're moving incorrectly in things they already have to do at work and at home, like the businesses I work for, they're like, hey, if they have a baby, I want them to know how to pick up the baby. I just everybody to feel better at the end of the day instead of worse. We're all in this together, going to make the world a better place. So at Prana, when we're coming down from lunch, we'll often say, all right, going to go save the world one body at a time. That's all I could do. But I am so excited about the companies being excited about, whoa, I get it. Like it's more than just use your legs. That's basically the tagline, because you can use your legs 1,000 different ways wrong. Okay. So we have to show that. And if we had better, I would show you. Maybe we need to do a workshop and just tape it, because I need to move and kind of show you how to do it. But it's important, not only the alignment and what your base of support is, like where your feet are, but you have to ground and you have to align yourself, and then you move. And then where do you move from? Like if I go to lift something, maybe I can just demonstrate right here. If I go to lift something and every time I'm like shrugging my shoulder first, well, I'm going to have pain. I'm going to be getting headaches. I don't know why, and then we're saving money too. We're saving drama. Like, because if now I have headaches, now I can't be with my family. I don't want to go to the Eastern Cup yesterday because I don't feel good. And then at my job, I'm like, oh, I just feel, and then so it's really about peak performance, saving healthcare dollars, but ultimately it's about making the world a better place. I mean, literally, I tend to dream big, and I do, just by you feeling better, by moving better at the baseline level. And then if you want to go play basketball, back to your healthy question, well, now you functioned so efficiently all day by lifting your box or even sitting. Like I'm sitting, my feet are planted, my legs are on. I'm not like sitting like this and my, then let's just look at your machine or think of the twig scenario, right? If you're doing things wrong all day and then you go play basketball, oops, now you hurt your back or something. But if you're functioning really well and efficiently, in which you're getting good core recruitment, your muscles are recruiting the way they should be, your joints are at a range at which they should be, that wear and tear right at the twig isn't happening. And you potentially will be even better when you go in to play basketball. Doesn't mean you don't need some sort of basketball instruction or something and learn how to do it basketball well, but you're coming in with the right machine behind it.
So that makes sense. I guess I have two questions. The sales pitch, if you will, to businesses is you're cutting from a business standpoint. You can help them cut down on employees being out and injured, like you said, healthcare dollars, unemployment or not unemployment,
retention, and then also recruitment. But then just feeling better, and maybe it's not always a work comp thing, but they feel better and their morale's better. And I get to literally look, okay, so there's different ways that MyoKind has interventions. Okay. One of them is like baseline, the video.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask.
Supports the training of, and I love to get workshops on training the trainers, right? So let's get in the room. Let's all get, okay, how do you train? Okay, that's good. But the nuances you're missing, you know what I mean? To support them, not to be like, oh, you're doing that wrong. They're not trained as physical therapists, thank God, right? Because that's what I do. And I can't do what they do. But we can collaborate and overlap and find the way to make it really efficient, and that no stone is unturned, that we got it. They're doing it. Now that I get a workshop to the trainers, and then so that's the video, and then they can send it, and then it's on your phone. If you don't want to get into the weeds on how the video works, but anyway, every person is supposed to have it on their phone as a bookmark. It's not really an app, but it looks like an app. And then once you have the corporate landing page, the full video will be on there. It's like 13 minutes or something. But the key thing about the video, it doesn't just say, do it this way. This is where the nuances from a motion, movement therapist and physical therapist can come. It shows you how to get it in your body. And that's a lot of the part that's missing. Yeah. So in the video, it shows, actual exercises like a plank or something, right? Because you need that to learn how to stand, because you have to know how to be in that position against gravity to get the core and to get the alignment. But then you have your muscle memory exercises, which might be just standing while you're brushing your teeth and weight shifting side to side that bombards your central nervous system to know where that position is. So it becomes more normal. So it's kind of like scales. If you've ever played a musical instrument, you have to do the scales to kind of keep learning how to finger a flute or whatever. Same thing. You just do some of your scales every day that take like a minute or two so that you get it in your body. So with the video, you can just go right on. What did she say about, standing, exercises so that you don't have to rewatch the whole thing. But that's if you have your corporate landing page. So it's easy to use. And then what happens is, with like Armstrong, for instance, a Webstrot, I go and I give preventative physical therapy sessions. So that's my backstage paradigm on site. So that's like what I did with Backstage Broadway. So I bring my table, I set it up, and my favorite part is I get to look every person in the eye and say, your company has me here because you care, because they care. How can I help you? Or what I say now is like, do you know why you're here? And they go, no, my manager just sent me. Like it could be that. And I win them over every time. I give them a survey afterwards. And I'm like, look, well, great. I'm glad because then I get to introduce you. And I often will say, oh, I was Backstage Broadway to give some instant street cred, with stage crew and whatnot. And I said, literally, your company just wants you to feel better at work and play. I don't even care if you like play hockey at night. Let's go. Let's make sure you do hockey right. It doesn't have to be, and so I get to say, hey, is your neck bothering you? I can just work on your neck a little bit. I do use the word massage because people connect with that word, but that's not really, our intention is different than massage, but sometimes it feels like a massage. It could be like, I could just work on your neck and you're doing it during your work time. Your company's paying for you to be here in a session that you would have to pay for, so, and then they really do, feel much better after that 20 minutes. So we just do like 20-minute signups. It's more like a quick screen, with some interventions. Cause like with Backstage Broadway, it was quick. So I can identify, okay, let me show you how you lift. Let me show you a few strategies. Oh, I see that you're not going to be able to get there because your hip doesn't have enough mobility. Now we'll try this. So if your hip doesn't have enough mobility, you're going to stop and then you're going to take it in your back. You have to have hip mobility to get the hip hinge to do it right. Okay. So, that's where I'm like, okay, stop. And I have to give them like just a stretch of their hips and then train them. Well, and that's all I'm going to do.
That's the first physical therapy demonstration we've ever had on Lancaster Connects. This is great.
And I noticed I need to work out more when I saw some of this happening
Everybody's got that. Everybody's got that.
Okay, I'm going to start now. See, I'm just going to do
it. Yeah, take this time, 15 minutes while we wrap up.
Multitasking.
So you have some local clients. You have clients beyond. Is there a target like size of business or with the videos, any size business can use this?
Actually, I'm glad you asked because there was Angie's Custom Cleaning here in town had me come and she just has like a few people that clean for her. And she was just so excited. She had me come give a whole in service because that's the other thing I do is workshops. So to start, it depends. Some people just like, oh, I just want the video or, oh, I just want the preventive PT sessions. Some of them like, I want you to come give us a workshop. So we're all on the same page. Use the video as as sort of the after kind of learning and follow up. And, but to your point, it literally any size because like right now I'm with some companies that do have global, I always say local roots, but global relevance, right? But some of them are testing it here first before they take it into all their different warehouses for different ways of corporate culture and stuff like that. So I do live events. That's where I started in Broadway. I had the dance niche, of course, but like it's shown there, going into warehouses and going into, different, sports. And let me tell you this. I don't care if you are a grandmother or grandfather just trying to, keep up a little bit with the grandkids and be able to, squat down to grab that egg that they missed, yesterday. Or if you are a high level athlete, which we do have, we absolutely do have. If you're a marathon runner, triathlete, or, major Broadway dancer or whatever, it is really important because that was a mistake I made at first with the Broadway dancers. I thought they knew everything. They didn't know how to stretch their hamstring. So we can we can find those weak links in no matter who you are and have something to offer to, whether it's peak performance for an ultra or peak performance to squat down to get that egg off the floor.
That's awesome. I mean, kudos to you for taking the time, the free time during COVID and do something really, really productive with it. And of course, beneficial to, like you said, not only local, but global relevance, right? I think that's super awesome. And it's probably something that, businesses don't take advantage of at all, probably, and really should. The health of their employees, people care about their employees, but probably that physical, how they move part might be down in terms of like maybe other priorities. So it's great that you're bringing that education to the forefront and giving them easy and effective ways to move better, to be more productive businesses and people.
Yes, I love just talking to them because they don't know what they don't know or what they need, and I think it's more inclined to spend a lot more money. I mean, I've heard of some astronomical, money being spent out there on wellness. And I'm just like, whoa, what services Myokind can provide for the businesses is just fractions of the cost, because it just is for some real baseline movement that you have to do anyway. And then you can springboard and be like, okay, what else are we going to do for the layering for something a little bit more extravagant or fancy? But let's get to the nuts and bolts and brass tacks of what you do every day, whether just sitting here talking to you, because I could be back like this all day, or, sleeping. I mean, that's hopefully we're there about 8 hours. So that's another thing of how well you sleep with the breath and the airway. You could be sleeping, but like how well are you sleeping? So it's just exciting and I really do love giving back in that way and helping people help themselves.
That's awesome. Well, Sharon was a commenter here a little bit ago. Sharon Moyer said you gave her a lot to think about. So this has been great. Myokind, MYO-KIND for Dawn, myokind.com is where to find Myokind. I'm assuming that's a great place for someone to get started.
Yep. They can reach out to me, and there's like a 30-second trailer of the video. There's also, cool, because again, I tried to listen to my clients with WebStrut. I had been with them for so long. So I was like, before I even went into production, I was like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Did I miss anything? So they were kind of a little bit of my Shark Tank and kind of helped me along. And I said, okay, now here's what it is. Did I miss anything? So it was really great, to have them, so I made sure that it was what they needed. So what happened was the preventative physical therapy sessions that I do in the, on site at businesses, they were like, well, how do we communicate that to our employees of what you're doing? Because they're like, oh, I'm fine. I don't have any pain. So I do have another video that explains what to expect during the preventative physical therapy sessions. And that's been really helpful. At Armstrong right now, they're using that as well. Because then they can see me and actually Armstrong, every Thursday during this month, I'm presenting workshops to their crew meetings that they have, I think, twice a year. They pay them to come in and they review some safety stuff. And so I get to get in front of them and be like, sign up. Because I want it to be seamless for the company. I don't want like
you want it to be easy.
Exactly. I don't want the HR person to have to run around and be like, who's to sign up? We already paid for this, So to make it easier, I ask the people that come in, and everyone seems to be loving, they're getting great feedback, to be like, hey, well, why don't you have one other person try? My PR skills come in handy. Why don't you have one other person to bring in, or make it mandatory at first so that they can all just try it.
Yep.
But, and then now they're putting me in front of their supervisors. And then now because they had a meeting and I was able to talk about it. So they knew how to answer questions. And then now I'm going right in front of the employees, and it's been great.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing.
Because we want to make it easy. We just want people to sign up, and that's it.
Yep. Well, thanks for sharing about Myokind and Prana. I do want to ask, our time is kind of wrapping up here a little bit, and I know you have an appointment to get to. you have a body to save.
I have a patient. Yeah.
Or improve,
I can't tell you
right?
who. I can't tell you who, and you might know him, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, Paul Simon? I mean, you dropped his name earlier.
No, he was in last week.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
camp out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So you do some great things for downtown Lancaster. I know the James Street Improvement District. You've also worked with Lancaster City Alliance, who we've had on the show before. Maybe you could share just a couple things that you do downtown and ways that Lancaster is improving.
Yes. Well, a couple of things in theater. I work with Fulton trying to keep their actors going 8 shows a week. And that's
cool.
been so great to help them stay well. And Mark Robin over there, and so great to have me do that. I work with Prima Theater as well sometime. But one of my favorite that I actually didn't tell you about, I wrote it down to remind myself, is before COVID, for about 5 years, Samantha Hughes, who's an actor in town. Actually, she just moved to New York, so she's doing stuff dancing out there, which is great. But she was the director at Reynolds Middle School Musical. We got her to come. I was a parent, but I had some experience. I was her assistant director. So for 5 years, for like November through April, about 3 to 4 times a week so a lot of hours spent with these middle schoolers putting shows on. And I'm telling you, because of Samantha, she's such a professional. She was so good. We pushed these kids like they were great people.
Awesome.
We would have lines outdoors. So that was for like 5 years. That was a lot of time spent. But I was like the child wrangler. I'm like, listen, I know all these kids, so I'm going to help you, and I'm going to be like connection with the parents. And it ended up morphing into like a production role, because I'm like, I'm going to get these $7,000, costumes for these kids for Lion King. Because I'm very much like, if you're going to do something, anything we're doing for what we're doing, go big or go home. I just am. I can't apologize for it anymore. And even Sam's going like, no. And then we're going to take them all to the Fulton. And and then there's a blizzard. Oh, that's okay. I'll figure it out. They'll all come to my house. Anyway. But I really enjoyed that. And then it became a big thing. Like anyway, it was amazing. The shows that they put on. I wish I would have sent you pictures of that. We had really, really great. We had stray lining, atomic we had.
That's cool.
And, but anyway, so that was good. But no, I did, I was on the executive leadership committee for marketing for the Lancaster City Alliance, because I was on the board of James Street Improvement District, but then that went with the Alliance, and that merged together to do Lancaster City Alliance. And then, I've been known as like sort of one of the people for healthcare by the FIG, and SCORE was a big thing. They gave me a couple of or an award for different small business and trying to overcome some things. So
yeah, we just had SCORE on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, they're awesome.
They're fantastic. They highlighted a business that they helped over the last couple of years, and actually they helped Jeff and I 13 years ago. When we bought the
great. It was 12 years for me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
unbelievable resource.
Matter of fact, I was really proud because it was probably at least 5 years ago, and maybe they still are, but they're the number one in the country. Our SCORE in Lancaster got number one in the country,
so cool.
and in our chamber. So I think Lancaster really has a lot, and I think people are starting to notice.
Yeah, and their heart to give back. They dedicated their 30, 40, whatever years to their profession and what they did, and now they're finding a way to give back. And what better way to give back than to help small business owners or people with dreams or nonprofits, charitable organizations, whatever, get open and of course thrive. And that's a healthy community, right? So cool. Well, yeah. Only a couple minutes left, and I know you've got some restaurants to talk about. So let's. You ready for the connection cocktail?
Yes.
All right. So, there's all kinds of things that you could say about Lancaster and your favorite thing to do. But I will try to get you to narrow it down to one. Do you have one favorite thing that you like to do in Lancaster?
Oh my gosh, I can talk fast. Can I just say with you?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, ready? I'll just say it. Okay. Because it's spring. Or summer, the Lounge Park music series. Got to do it.
They just announced their concert lineup.
They just announced today, so I'll pick that one. Right? I mean, there's so many things. Whether it's just going to Telus Rooftop or walking around downtown, and then yes, let's just put Lancaster it's a music experience, but yeah, I have so many.
Let's get to your restaurants. I know you've got some friends in restaurants and you've got some favorites. Sounds like
I do. So sorry, people, get your pens out, get your notebooks, whatever, take notes in your phone because I'm going to talk really fast because we don't have much time. Because it's about categories too. If it's breakfast, it's, Amanita and Passerine just opened. Kyle Sollenberger and Crystal Weaver just opened Passerine on Prince Street. There's Prince Street Cafe that they already own, which is amazing.
Okay.
On Orange with Melissa does a great job for breakfasts. I mean, I can go on and on. But if you want to experience the Emily in Paris experience, if you watch that, or we have Citronelle, it's a BYOB, but that is a chef-owned restaurant with the most detail-oriented menu. Like, if you don't really get it, that's okay. Just go and let them take care of you. And just definitely get the Citronelle souffle. You got to get it.
And they're down the road from you, right? They're like a few doors down.
They're on Orange. They're right next to Melissa's on Orange.
Okay.
Yeah, Citronelle.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. All right.
No, and then I've got to mention Dean and Justin do such a great job. They have, C'est La Vie. They have Josephine. Yeah. Oh my gosh, please go into the women's bathroom in Josephine's, okay? And they...
I can.
Women. Actually, going to the men's, it's pretty cool too. I didn't when it was not open. C'est La Vie, Josephine's, Belvedere, and they just opened 401 Prime. So those are all like a different level of... Yeah, but it's... Okay, you might go, 401 Prime is too expensive. Well, just, you know what? Go with a friend, get one drink, share of an entree if you have to, because you have to have the experience and it's worth it. It's attention to detail, everything. Zootropolis, oh my gosh. You just want to hang out, go grab a cocktail or something. That's amazing place. Tell us, come on. You got to go to the rooftop and you got to just hang out and have a beer and order some food. Maybe they still have the food trucks up there. So there's just, and then there's like Flora's and Norbu, which is more like, we have so much cuisine here from so many different. Norbu is amazing. I don't know if you've tried it. And Flora.
I have not.
Anyway. Oh, and I forgot to mention Rachel's for breakfast.
We're a Rachel's fan for sure. Yep.
Yeah, but you got to try Amanita, which is not too far. And it's right on Walnut and Charlotte. Yeah. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands. So everybody come to Lancaster and you can experience different countries in Lancaster.
Absolutely. Himalaya.
Himalayan's great. Someone just got really. Anyway.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Great food. But yeah. So yes, I didn't have a pen out and I wasn't writing down, but we have it on recording. So.
Oh yes. So you can put it in slow-mo.
Right. We can watch it over and over and over again. That's great suggestions. So last question. I know you got to go. Do you have a favorite annual event that you like to do or go to in Lancaster?
Oh gosh, there's so many, but I would say the one that I don't usually miss is Velocity. I don't know if you, Velocity is it's the celebration of downtown Lancaster, whether it's fine arts, food, cocktails, fashion. They did a fashion show. And, Lancaster City Alliance mostly is in charge of putting it on. It's almost always held at Tellus and they take up all the Tellus and it's on the day. I never miss that. And it's worth getting like the VIP ticket and donating your money towards, and then the Lancaster Chamber annual dinner. I would say I really, really try to go to that. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but that, or even the downtown. Oh, there's just so many, Ben. The downtown, when they do it for the July 4th, where everything is downtown on the streets. Yep. And then they have music at Ben's Park. So those kind of annual events I really look forward to.
That's awesome.
Can I mention one other thing that's not downtown Lancaster?
It's a client you have to get to, so go.
Okay. Just one other thing that everybody must do, and this is becoming my new favorite, it's just not in downtown Lancaster, but it has a downtown connection. To go to Sickman's Mill during to go tubing, because now there's a Jimmy's Place, there's a bar down there, and Joe DuBois, who used to own Tellus, does things. He does things right. He just does them right. And now there's a bus that goes from Tellus down to Sickman's Mill when they open.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. You can sit there around the fire pits at night, or you can just go for a cocktail and not even go tubing. But the float is perfect, and there's eagles, and it's just amazing.
That's cool. Yeah, I've not been down there personally, but right there on the Conestoga. We are coming into, you mentioned the rooftop tubing. We are coming into the weather season that sort of stuff is awesome to do in Lancaster. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing about you and Prana and Myokind. Again, we had the websites and ways to contact there on the page, pranapt.com and myo-kind.com. Is that what it was?
myo-kind.com.
.com, yep.
And honestly, we just want people to feel better and be their best. Yep. This is what we say, we have a whole mission statement, but our tagline, feel better for yourself, your family. Sometimes we say workplace, but not everybody cares about that so much. Your passion and your community. Ultimately, we want people to feel their best so they can be out volunteering. They can be out experiencing these restaurants. They feel like they can get in one of those inner tubes and float down. Honestly, that brings joy and creates more life. And for all of us, it's just saving the world one body at a time.
That's fantastic. You couldn't have said it any better. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest. It was great to see you again.
Thank you, Jeff. My love.
We will. Go see your client.
Okay. I'll do my best.
All right.
Take care.
Bye. Oh man, I don't think we've had a guest with more energy than Dawn. Dawn does amazing things for her clients, the community, and just her passion with the kids, with the musical. It's so cool. All right, so we are kind of out of time. We'll do the prizelator here. We'll spin that. We'll do a sleep better tip and a testimonial next week. Had a handful of new commenters on that I've not seen before. So thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching and listening. And Dawn, congratulations. You won your choice of gift. So either Less Norm or Cuddle Drinkware, or our on the go bundle, little pillow or blanket. Just come in, let us know that you were one of the winner. Didn't even get a hot back on this round of PT, as it was her comment. Yeah, I guess you could go out and get one, right? So, all right. Well, thank you all for watching. And until the next connection, see you next time.